top 5 D&D character I've ever come across.
Though we've reached a point where it's important to describe the things. So just say that it looks like Bubble Buddy in case the people haven't seen SpongeBob. But it's, good enough. Most people know what Bubble Buddy looks like anyway.
That is fair.
Oh.
All right. So, yeah. Sorry I'm late. What happened?
The DM's never late. The DM is always right on time.
Last time, yeah, that's right. It starts when I'm ready, and that's now.
I have something to send.
A lot of stuff happened last time.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened.
I don't know if she's.
We don't need to hit every detail, but we can get through some bullet points if we want to.
All right,
we got the anima spell, right?
He took a new body. His feathers now have a glow and shininess to them. Garfield mixed the blood of Yi and Tim from their deals because Yi made a deal with the Garfield and used his cards and got very fucking lucky. So he has the new body. Then we let Yi gallivant off into the shadows. Tim, Korik, and Angus go to the director's office. So we enter Lucretia's office to try to confront her. As Lucretia goes to leave the office, Tim casted a portal and sends her back to Garfield's shop. We discover there's an illusion trap in the hall. The only way through it is to overcome it.
I did forget that you guys said it as a race. You shot her out of the room. That was awesome.
Yeah, we find a vault at the end of the hallway with a 7-digit password and a wheel.
I did indeed shoot her out of the room.
They
eventually caught us, I think, and then she started telling us the truth.
Yeah, we found the password to be McDonald. Everything was a little staticky when we were trying to talk. Eventually, I can see arcane symbols. A small bell begins to ring above the tank. The fuck was that?
You guys were getting headaches.
Okay, yeah. Tim did something with a glassy klaxon. Angus tells them to drink. They drink. Our minds race.
Did you blow your horn?
I don't see anything about the horn yet. Hold on. Yeah, Angus and Davenport tussle until the guards are able to pull Angus off. Korik hears Angus whisper, drink. Lucretia tells them what's going on. She tells them there was a baby voidfish in the tank, which Yi had already found out separately. Lucretia yells, "You're right, Lucas. I think it's time." She tells him they're not from here. That 7 of them formed to explore the boundaries of the planar system. On this day, they left. Something went wrong, and they lost their home. Lucas is actually Angus. We find out that Lucretia actually has...
Yeah, just the name Angus. We used the wrong name, but yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. Lucretia, we find out that Lucretia actually has all 7 relics. She can put them back together. Angus is weeping silently because they have lost Lup. Lucretia apologizes for losing Lup. She doesn't know what happened to her. Tim is also crying as Lucretia is saying this also. Davenport is standing with a little empty vial put to his lips, and the clatter of the platter of coins falling to the floor. He looks up, wiping the voidfish liquid from his lips, and he asks Lucretia, "What have you done?" Yi creeps around the door flies open as 100 hands pull it open. The army of hunger starts to take over the world. It is the end of the world for the 102nd time. The camera pans out. It shows 7 people in uniform, red coats and robes. A human woman looks like Angus as she has her arm around Tim. Angus is in the front center, smiling in the picture. Korik has his arm wrapped around Davenport, and Yi is behind them, and Lucretia is surrounded by friends. We are celebrating a moment of peace and happiness. This picture shows a time it is a time to remember this moment. And then we are now entering an arc called the Stolen Century.
Hell yeah. Yeah. The world is ending, and there's a lot that you don't know because you have been made to forget. But now it is time to remember. First, we're going to go over a couple of things. You guys all have your character sheets. It's just those numbers. That's all that's really it.
Am I going to need to write anything down on this, or can I just, like, is it just something I can just remember?
You will need to track the following 3 scores. That is experience, which I granted you guys a couple points of to begin. Assets and bonds. Oh, I don't remember. How much was that
experience you gave us?
3 experience. Okay. I don't know what assets and bonds we received.
No assets, no bonds to begin, but you just to track the end of the last arc as terms of leveling, I'm gonna just tack it on to the point system here. That may go up or down by the end of the arc, depending on when I read that section. I'm like, this is how much it's. We'll see.
I apologize. I was writing, and then I had to go back and look to see what my stats were for the official records. Can you tell me what we're tracking again? It's mind, body, heart.
Mind, body, heart are your stats. Yeah, body is going to be like physical stuff. Mind is, mental stuff, and heart is like charismatic things. I think that at any point, if there's an argument to set it as a different stat that I have put it as, please feel free to make it. We only have 3 here. They're just narrative to move us forward. But
and then you said experience, and then other things that we're tracking.
Yes, that experience you'll track. Assets. Assets are going to be, you'll be granted them narratively. Say that a good example given is that like a king, you guys talk your way into a king's court, and the king grants you like a chest of gold, and I give each of you an asset or whatever. I give your team, let's say that chest is worth 2 assets. Now your team has 2 assets, or
okay.
We'll do it individually. So however that works, say you each get 1 asset for that. Now you can spend this asset in any which way in the future to upgrade a role, but you have to say how you're going to spend that asset. When you're spending it, in this case, it does not need to be the chest of gold that you earned it. You don't need to track how you earned the asset. You can spend the asset because we're going over 100 years and you guys are coming with a stocked ship. You can call the asset anything you want to call it. Say in the next arc where you're spending this asset, it's to convince a troll to let you over a bridge. So you're spending the asset to be like, I don't know, a magic sword or whatever that the troll is going to be distracted by, that you can toss off into the woods or whatever that is. Like you can spend the asset to upgrade your rolls to the different sections. The different sections of rolls are going to be rolling 2d8s, or sorry, 2d6s on the total, plus your stat, mind, body, or heart. There's like a +1, a +2, and a -1. 6 or less is a failure. You lose at whatever you're trying to do, and typically like it's pretty negative because we're talking in like larger schemed things. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're like dying right away or that the whole game is lost if you fail, any of your particular rolls. It's just it will inform what happens. A 7 to 9 is a mixed success. You get what you want, but you have to give something up, or there's a consequence, or I'll probably give you an option of like 2 outcomes that are both, slightly okay, but slightly bad. 10 or higher is a complete success. You get what you want, and you probably get something extra too. If you're able to, if you roll double 6s, we'll talk about even better shit that you can come across as like a critical. So say that in convincing this troll to get the fuck out of your way, you roll a 6 or less, right? And you have an asset to spend. You can spend that asset to pop it up to a mixed success. If you have 2 assets and you really want to spend them on passing this troll with no negatives, you could spend them to take a failure all the way to a perfect success. So you tell me narratively what you're giving or bringing out in this situation to help, and you completely pass the situation and move on. In that case, I'm probably not granting you tons of excessive stuff, but you're going to pass with no negatives, right?
So after you explained what the stats actually did, I just quickly made a small change to my character sheet and sent it to you.
Totally fine. Yes. Mostly I just wanted to know that you guys had them. You have numbers in front of you to roll off of. Not necessarily something. I also was kind of curious how you would stat yourselves in this manner as the characters you are now. It's just kind of fun. Okay. Are there any other questions about, like, that's like the raw mechanics. That's basically going to be it for mechanics. You guys are spellcasters. You know, it's not, most likely, I don't want to say never, but we're most likely in this arc not going to be getting down to the nitty gritty of like rolling for initiative or like doing a turn-by-turn combat system. So you're not going to need to like worry about counting spell slots, because also like each thing is a year-long cycle and we're talking in macro terms. So it's not necessarily about counting spell slots or about anything like that. Like, Buddha, be a druid. Toxic, be a sorcerer. If it makes sense that you can move forward by doing a druidic thing, you can turn into an animal, right? You can interact with nature. Toxic, you can fucking do sorcerer things. You can bring up natural elements. I don't really know.
You can entertain a small child's party.
You're a magic guy. You're an entertainer also. That's kind of, you know, you can utilize that. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah.
Could he also seduce an entire brothel?
Wow.
He can do whatever he wants. That's, you know what? That's exactly the point that I'm trying to make here. This is like at its core, you can do whatever you want.
We're going back in time, correct?
Technically.
Okay.
So, with that in mind, you know that you're going to exist in this moment. You also know how many times that you will die in this coming arc, because we have rolled for that.
I do wonder how that will work with all the different numbers, especially
90% of those, I will say that, like, because they're mid to low, we're not going to cover. This is a stolen century. This is 100 years. We're not going to go through 100 years. So it's easy to say that even say we hit 20 cycles.
I don't think my character is 100 years old.
My character is 35. I think I died like 69 times or something in 35 years.
Exactly. Say we cover 20 cycles somehow. If we just happens so, like, they could be 20 of the cycles in which both of them survive. There aren't 20 cycles in which Yi survives. I think it's like 3 to 7. I don't remember what your number was.
Yi has 93 deaths from his roll.
93. So 7 cycles in total Yi survives. That means nothing to your characters right now, but that's just fun to think about. And I do, you know, challenge you to think about that as we go through it, Elite. If you survive, we should make that a moment, because you don't often do it. Who knows what that will mean? You know, if we hit 9, if you just survive the first 9, if there's a 10th, I will kill you. You die after that, and it's
Beely has a question. She asks if Yi can just stay dead. It's a very pressing question.
You know what? If we hit 7 cycles and he survives, I don't know. Maybe that's why. Maybe there's something that happens. We'll figure it out. Eek.
Note to self: no lucky eggs after the 7th cycle. Got it.
Yeah, like.
Oh, you don't even have your lucky egg during this.
The numbers. Well, yeah. I mean.
So particular. Jeez, just let me have the funny quib.
Oh, I guess that. Yeah, that would be a balance to make. Anyway. Camera comes up. A promotional video being projected onto a screen in a room full of people sitting in fold-out chairs. A voice heard narrating the events shown in the video. Everything begins, and I mean quite literally everything, with the light of creation. Imagine the power to realize anything your mind can conceive of on any scale, and then imagine that power given tangible form. It's not the being that created our existence, but it may very well be the tool that they used. It's the paintbrush that illustrated the very first tree. It's the yardstick that told the stars where to hang in the night sky. And somehow, the light of creation ended up in a place it was not intended to go. Our world. The very world it helped shape. A year ago, the Institute of Planar Research and Exploration, the world's premier collective of bright minds and adventurous spirits, recovered the light of creation. And in this past year, we've made immeasurable advancements in the fields of science and arcana, all culminating in tomorrow's unprecedented voyage. Please, give a warm welcome to our braven explorers. We are currently 100 years in the past, and tomorrow, Captain Davenport, Angus, Loop, Lucretia, and the three of you will be embarking on a mission that ends with the culmination of our story. The seven of you are sitting on a stage, looking out against this audience as the lights come up. You are all in crimson attire. Robes and vests adorn the lot. I'd like to ask you guys how your, red robes is how it sits at some point, and that will become apparent as to why that is the moniker for it. So it doesn't have to be a robe, but crimson in attire. How do you guys? What are your guys' individual personal outfits look like? All crimson, of course, but, are we talking high fashion? Are we talking formless robe?
Yee's? So Yee has kind of basic robe, but his modification was just cut the bottom half of the robe off, cut the arms off, he's good. He's got the dagger behind him he can grab in a velvet robe kind of sheath.
Okay.
Well, considering Tim is of noble birth, mine would look incredibly pristine, almost brand new. Like it was just, I don't know, picked up, or it gets washed every day, or I don't know, just so that you would know.
Oh, I mean, these were made.
From.
These were made for you, so it's kind of more like, what kind of style are you rocking, right?
It looks like something a noble would wear. Whatever noble clothes. So fine material, looks incredibly expensive. It's well maintained. It's not beaten up or anything. It's just,
Any notes on what it looks like?
I don't know. Just
shape,
no.
form, pants,
do you have the
shirt,
stuff in front of
a dress.
I'm a dwarf. I'm 4 feet tall. So I mean, I don't. It looks like
he just used the bottom
fitting.
that Yi cut off of to make his.
Yeah, I use Yee's sleeves actually.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So it's like a two-piece.
Yeah.
But it's really well done.
Yeah.
It shows just a little midriff, just to get the ladies crazy.
It's just enough ankle to get all the.
What about Korik?
So
we got fucking
robes
toxic in a two-piece.
are it's not a full robe. It's kind of like a I don't want to use the word shawl, but it's kind of like a sleeveless robe, and I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt underneath that is almost like a dark maroon instead of a crimson undershirt type thing, with my armor, and then this is more like an overrobe that drapes just above, dragging on the ground at the tail. But it's completely open. But then it is also embroidered almost like if you would experience ghost flames of a car. Just kind of like a slightly more off color, just a different shade of old fey elven scribe scroll, just kind of patterns into it. And as he walks, it almost has a slight faded shimmer. as it
Yeah.
moves.
Like there's like the very outer layer that is like I've seen like multi-layered garments that is like that sheer, right? But if we get magical, we can get that even thinner to where it's like almost imperceptible, but only when you're moving does it like reflect the light. So
Yeah,
it
but
looks
it's
like
still
this weird fuzz around you.
and it's like loose enough that if I need to like hide in shadows, I could also like cover part of my face with it.
Yeah.
Not a hood per se, but enough to be able to like cover myself if need be, but still open enough that if I need to drop it completely for full combat, it's easily be able to move. So
I actually just realized, Em, I wear scale mail armor, so mine would
In
be
D&D
like,
world, you definitely do. It sounds like in this world you wear a 2-piece, which is
Oh.
fine. We're not.
I was looking at
we're
my
not,
armor.
In fact, the
It's like a mill.
questions, or I mean, again, I'm not going to be rolling. I'll say that also, I'm not going to roll ever during this arc. This is not going to be an arc in which I'm going to be like targeting your shits. So your AC and how much armor you have is not necessarily at.
If it's actually cloth armor, it looks like a very fine, expensive, like magicians or wizards. Actually, if I was really saying this, my character is like a performer, so it would look like a pristine street performer who looks like he does very, very, very well for himself. Would be what it would actually look.
So probably like more like tight fitting, like pants that you can move around in. They might have. I like to think like writer's pants.
Yeah.
And then you can have like a kind of like a blazer that has been tailored nicely to your outfit, give you like performance with sleeve shit.
Yeah. It looks very expensive. You can tell it's expensive. You can tell that whatever I do to make money or ends meet, I'm very good at it. And,
okay. So these are outfits. Granted, these are going to be your. We're gonna call it the Institute. This is like your uniform. You had a uniform tailor made to your specifications and choices. In my brain for the rest of this, it will be a 2-piece for you, but you can definitely say whatever. You can call yourself at whatever armor class you want, but in a 2-piece. Lady adventurers do it all the time. Next to, we have standing up on stage in front of the mic, the captain of the ship, Davenport. He stands in also tight-fitting rider's pants. That was also on my brain as we got around to it. But he has a loose fitting, almost like blouse top with a tighter leather vest, all of which, of course, crimson with the patch on the shoulder, as everyone has. And he stands giving this presentation. At this point, he approaches the mic. Before, though, he is able to give this presentation, behind you guys is a ship in which I will describe here in a moment, but we need a name for the ship because he's about to talk about it. I want you guys to name your ship.
Ooh.
We can call it literally whatever. It could be as whatever dumb thing you want to, whatever name it, or it could be the coolest thing in the whole world. I don't want to say that the idea would be dumb.
Hawk Runner.
Did you call? What did you say?
Hawk Runner.
You said like Cock Runner?
No.
You thought he said cock runner.
I did.
No, I said.
Which honestly, I'm okay with. I'm not gonna lie. Excuse me, what? Your ship is named what?
Davenport shakes his head as he comes up to the mic.
The throbbing vessel.
This ship, the throbbing cock rudder. This is why we need to stop giving ideas. Like the public cannot vote on these. Like backstage while you guys are in the room, he's like shaking his head. He's like, the public cannot keep voting on these ideas. We got Bodie McBoatface a few years ago, and now we have the
putting that one in.
Oh,
No,
well,
no. TCR. We don't have to say what it is. It's just TCR. The thriving cockrunner.
Well, all right. When you say it, it makes it very difficult for me to go out there and, like, with a straight face say what ship we're flying. But I'll go with the TCR. Woo! Just for yep. All right. And then we flash forward. He says, "This ship, the TCR, doesn't run on any kind of fuel you've heard of. It doesn't run on any type of fuel at all. Actually, this was the biggest discovery that the light of creation has allowed us to harness so far. The ring that powers this ship by using bonds. We discovered while studying the light of creation's power that any two things in existence, from the whales in the sea to the dust in the air to every individual teaspoon in your kitchen cabinets back at home, are all connected somehow by bonds. Any number of observable, that's hard to say in his voice, phenomena, magnetism, gravity, electric, and covalent bonds, but there's an infinite, unobservable threads holding the matter of our universe together. In a manner of speaking, the interpersonal connections that we share are a type of bond too, like empathy and care. You could call this a love boat if you wanted to be reductive, but instead we've called it the TCR. Bonds are what propel and power this ship. Boy, are they. It's what is going to allow us to go to places we've never even dreamed of." And he spends a little bit of time introducing the fellow members of the crew. Himself, Davenport, he is the captain and will be the pilot of the vessel. He introduces the group science officer, a male human, slight in nature, wearing I've described his investigator clothes a number of times, but now they're the same and in crimson. An older Angus MacDonald, who looks bedraggled, like his stuff is not as like tightly pressed. He looks a little bit anxious and stressed out about this whole matter. He's writing in his books and looking back at the ship and writing in his books. Next to him, writing in her books, is Lucretia, the form of a younger Lucretia. She is writing in 2 books at once that are sit up on podiums, basically keeping 2 accounts of just everything said in this moment. She is introduced as the chronicler for your team. She'll just be keeping the history of your immense journey. A face we have not met yet, except in, I guess, a picture, looking exactly like Angus MacDonald to a point. Same height, same build, a twin, if you will, but decidedly more feminine in features. Sits next to our 2-piece wearing names. There's so many names on this list, and then I'm like trying to say like your names and your characters' names, and that's 6 more names. Sitting next to Tim, and she has her hand on his thigh, and she is smiling at him. She is introduced as the chef, Loop, and then there is the 3 of you. I'd like you to tell me what roles that you fill on this squad.
Well, if she's the fucking chef, then apparently my proficiency in cooking tools and cooking is null and void.
Oh fuck!
So I guess
we can. Chef is like an easy one for me to pull. So I was like, no one can be the chef. You can be the chef. She's the
like I literally have proficiency in that. I haven't been able to use that at all in the campaign. And you were like,
fuck.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
okay. That's so funny.
I'm just gonna start doing random parlor tricks because I just keep shitty.
A girl's hand is on your thigh, sir. Parlor tricks is definitely the time for this.
I just keep like doing fucking random magic tricks, and I'm guessing the entertainer, and I kind of just
Yeah, you are what are they called? They're like the liaison
Jester.
officer. I don't like there's like a charismatic, like a diplomat. You're like the diplomat of the crew that you're introduced as. What is
I do like the flower bouquet out of the sleeve. I'm just doing like random shitty magic tricks. Like
everyone's giving you like an applause. The crowd is loving it. Loop is behind you, kind of rolling her eyes and smirking at you.
What I'm here for.
He's just the one person who got like showed up in the wrong place, right timing. He got given a robe and just got shoved on stage. Like, yeah, okay. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Then what are you pretending to do? Like, what are you trying to fit in as?
I was gonna make you the group stealth officer, but you don't like that. Doesn't have to be a thing.
The group stealth officer. I love that.
He was trying to sneak in, and he probably got
No,
caught, and they're just like, you know what? Here's a rope. You're now.
No, I got it. We're on a ship, right?
Well, we're going to be.
Yeah. Okay. You chill in the crow's nest. You fly up to the crow's nest. You're like the scout.
Look out.
That could work.
Because everyone else is looking like
radar.
Fuck, man, I don't want to have to climb all the way fucking up there. The last time I did it, the captain hit the big wave on purpose, and I fell down 3 rungs. So you just fly up there, you chill out, you have your own bottle of booze, you have like a little fucking slingshot to launch shit at Tim as he's doing.
We're gonna be on a spaceship, I'll say though.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking like an ocean.
No, we're going space.
The ocean of stars, but we are going into space.
No.
We can say it looks like a pirate ship. I actually don't care and like that.
We're gonna be in space.
The crow's nest
like
has
a space
special dome.
Yeah, it has a special dome with all the like radars. You have like all of the like radars and maps and fucking yeah, absolutely. I still love the idea. We'll have a space pirate ship. Who cares? I love it.
Yes.
The TCR can be whatever it wants to be with a name like that.
I'm mad at the reason
that I feel like the only reason it looks like a pirate ship too is because they pulled a design from a hat, and he was just so disappointed that they pulled this one.
Davenport was, though. I bet if Yee is the one who pitched Bodie McBoatface that number of years ago to get the boat renamed, that he might have been the one to pitch that the ship should look like an actual ship in the Dropbox, and everyone voted for it. Yeah.
Yeah, Yee just put that in there because it's like, you know what?
You actually snuck in like another like 45 fucking votes.
Yee would totally do that. He's just like, you know what? I'm going to rig this election. There's like 200 more votes than people.
Yeah.
Oh.
As this... Let's see. As this press conference goes on...
I imagine as this preference goes on, the head of our ship just gets more and more disappointed as he looks back at the ship every time.
Yeah, he had asked you guys to put your best foot forward because we are going to be doing exploration out in space for the first time ever, and we got to put on a brave face for the crowd. But there's like jokes and flowers being pulled from fucking the sleeves and like all sorts of tomfoolery happening behind him, and the crowd seems to be enjoying it. I think that there's a bit of tension in the air because it's sort of like I mean, I guess how I would imagine like I would be blowing off steam at a big event like this before going into space where like anything could go wrong, right? Like it's a way to like joke away the darkness, but the press conference eventually does come to a close, and you guys are left with one night left before your ship leaves into space for what you don't know will be, but what you know as players will be probably the last time. So what do you do on your last night before you take off into space? Do you party? Do you rest? Do you train? Do you prepare?
He's gonna go try and steal the most expensive drink he can find and bring it to the crow's nest.
Okay. I'm gonna hold that and see if I can line it up with anyone else's, and maybe we can get everyone in a room together. But I will hold that. I like a steal. Okay, Yi is gonna go thieving.
First thing he does is like, yes.
I would like to try to commune with
in him.
nature, meditate, and while training, my mind for stuff.
Okay, one sort of last meditation here on your home planet before you take off. That's connect with the nature around you. What about you, Toxic? Also, I would like to introduce Loop. My thought for her, our story has gone in a different way, so I've had to do some thinking on how her relationship would line up. But based on the way that you play with a lot of characters that come across, I thought it would be very funny if Loop was you and Loop were in a non-monogamous relationship. You know what I mean?
Oh,
you're
me?
yeah, like you and Loop. Because I also think that ties in funny to our adventure, in which you've had the umbrella that is Loop with you the whole time, and she's just egging you on in these situations in slight ways. Yeah, I don't even know about non-monogamous, but more thruple seeking group, you know what I mean? An exploratory relationship. Yeah.
You want me to be in a swinging relationship?
I don't necessarily. Yeah, that was where my mind had sort of rested on this.
Oh my god!
Before we move forward, because she could also just be a fling for the moment. I don't want to put too much on it before we dive in.
I think that's funny. I'll take it. That would track with him. To be fair, that would track.
You try to seduce every woman you've come across.
It's worked almost every time.
I've had to think about this for a really long time. I also thought it would track.
Is that why you needed
so many times?
Is this why you needed a 5-month break, Em? It's just to figure out Toxic's relationship?
Honestly, it has been the hardest part. No, yeah. Anyway, that was my thought.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Narratively, that would be what I would do anyway, but
yeah, you can still you can be the exact same person, party boy, flirtatious, we're hanging out, vibing exactly as you are. She's just gonna be hanging out and chuckling with you, basically.
Cool.
She might flirt with the same people. She might flirt with other people.
I don't know what I want to do before we leave. I would think that I would, being a spellcaster, I would practice my magic, I guess, not my shitty parlor magic, my actual magic. I would work on, honing in my feats, or making sure that if I need to cast anything, or if we need to cast any of the spells I might know, I'm
so
up to
an actual
snuff
preparation for the mission.
Yeah, I feel that's how I would prepare, because this is new. We went from our world where I had all my magic and my abilities, and now we're in this completely different scenario, and I want to understand how things work.
That's true. As far as casting your spells, I don't know that we need it. It's not going to be you can just imagine that if you think a spellcaster could do it, you're a sorcerer, you could probably do this thing to tack on to the narrative. It's not gonna not gonna be being fronted with a big monster that you have to, that fireball doesn't work on, but lightning bolt will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, but preparing for the mission is incredible. I love this. If you're the chef, I'll say Loop is the medic. Yep, that's what Loop is. Loop's the medic. Everyone needs a medic. She's the doctor of the crew.
That's how Tim and Loop mostly get their swinging buddies, is through her patients.
Yikes! That feels against the license.
Narratively, I don't think that's how that would go, but
That's
boy.
wild. Okay,
Hey
so
Tim, I
let's,
just found out that this dude has a giant. I was helping him out, but
let's run through these scenarios then on the night before you guys leave. Let's start with Buddha. Buddha, where does Korik go to do his most like personal meditations with nature?
So it's not necessarily meditating with nature. From the end of the last arc, I still have the vial that was given to me that I don't know contains the memory of my parents in my past that was taken. Tox just lost audio. Hold on. So I'll wait.
Well,
Okay,
Buddha,
I'm back.
also this is
Sorry about
like
that.
way before that. We're
This
back
is
to
like,
like
100
when we
years
just
before.
began.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Yep,
Never
yep,
mind.
yep.
Okay.
No,
all right.
that's okay.
Oh, good.
So
right,
yeah.
actually, I'll tack a question right onto that. This would have to be after your parents were taken because you're like an adult now, and that was when you were a kid. So
yeah,
you do remember that at the moment.
I had like this really I was thinking about that. I was like, man,
Dang.
like
you want me
you
to
were
go
gonna
on?
cry.
Dang.
No,
Well,
no. I got it.
that could be a really good that hold on to that for a good like maybe a Korik closer for him to remind himself of that.
So no, so I just because we're at the base. There's not really much. So what is there? Are there trees in a wooded area around?
Yeah, we could. There's a whole set of woods to the north of the city. You guys are in a big old city. You could do literally anything you want to do. Go to the woods north of the town if that's what you want.
So I leave the group, and I go to the woods north of the town. I create a little camp, a small little fire, just my my little tent, and I just begin to meditate. And as I'm meditating, I start humming to myself and I don't realize that I'm actually doing it as I'm thinking and just trying to focus on the journey that's going to be at hand. We all have that one little lullaby or that song that our mother would sing to us to try to get us to be put down. And so I catch myself after about 15 minutes that I'm just subconsciously just kind of
Yeah, while you're humming
that tune to myself.
You're after about 10-15 minutes, your concentration, I guess, your lack of is broken when you hear a rustling in the bush, and as you stop humming and turn to face of whatever is coming out of the bush, you see Lucretia actually stumbling, tripping kind of like over a root and pulling it out of her. She is wearing a long, thin, almost like crimson dress that trails along the ground behind her, and she's like mumbling to herself. She's like, well, I thought getting a dress made would be great, but looks like I have to have him pull in the hymn before tomorrow. And she's like closing a journal. She seems like she's been writing in it. She's putting away a pen.
Do I still have my umbrella? Narrative question.
No, because the umbrella is your wife.
Yeah, that's fair.
So no, because you have your wife.
Can I still have an umbrella?
You can have an umbrella. I like that's kind of your vibe the whole time.
It's just like a walking stick umbrella.
Actually, honestly, yeah, that's incredible. I like that you have an umbrella already because that'll like I can put that into the story later too.
Yeah.
That's why it's gonna be an umbrella, right? Like that's why it's gonna be an umbrella down the line.
I don't know why I just want an umbrella, but I feel like I need an umbrella.
No, I love that. She turns to you and she says, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean to interrupt. I was just sort of curious about about you. I know the least about you coming into this mission, and the others are either partying or preparing, and you're the only one that, I don't know, came out. What are you doing out here?
Well,
I'm.
No, it's for
Yeah, this
work
ain't
stuff.
you.
You're not out here.
Yeah, you just interrupted me with your umbrella speak.
You have an umbrella, but you're not here.
Yeah. You're doing shots out of the umbrella right now.
You're preparing.
Yeah. I just look at Lucretia and I just kind of like shake my head and I try to refocus myself and I take a really big deep breath in. And I just kind of look at her. My head's kind of down and I just look with my eyelids, just out of the top of my eyes.
She's already
say,
notebook open, like pen to paper,
Yeah.
looking at you expectantly, and she's like,
Yeah.
I
I was relaxing and meditating. And what can I help you with?
Well, nothing, I guess. I just didn't, I don't know. I come prepared. I don't really have anything to say goodbye to here, and the partying's not really for me. I'm not much of a social butterfly. This seemed the easiest one to go on. I can leave you to it. It's I'm sorry I interrupted.
I was sitting crisscross applesauce, and in one motion, I uncross my legs and I stand up, and I kind of adjust my robes so they fall properly, and I clasp my hands in front of me, and I just look at her in her eyes, and I stare at her for about a solid 7 seconds, and I just say, "What can I help you with?"
I don't. I was just looking to get to know you a bit more before the mission started. I don't know, chat.
Well, here I am. What would you like to know?
But maybe this would be more comfortable if I did this in a sort of interview style. I'm not very good at the whole I don't know, conversing thing. That's why I write.
Lucretia, we don't have a whole lot of time before the night is over. I would love to be able to get a good solid 2 more hours of meditation in. Let me please dedicate some time to answer some of your questions. What questions do you have for me?
Oh, She smiles and closes her book, and she says, "It's very kind of you. I'll leave you to it. I'll ask my questions over time."
Before you leave,
Yes.
I have one question for you.
Okay.
What do you expect to get out of the mission we're going on?
Roll plus heart. Let's give it a let's make a roll for it. I'll give you something if you
All right,
roll.
so 2d8,
2d6.
2d6. Okay. 12. I got 2 6s.
Well, she stops for a moment, and she looks you up and down. She looks you in the eyes, and she really carefully considers you for a moment. Then she looks back at the lights of the city that are cresting over the opening of the canopy of the trees from this. I guess glade that you find yourself in. And she says, "Well, I don't have anyone here to say goodbye to. I don't really have anything here. And she looks down at her notebooks and kind of smirks to herself. She says, I even write under a pseudonym because I just don't know how to confront others in general. So I write. I guess I'm hoping to find out how to... Oh, I don't know. How to be proper and true person out there. How to commune and feel things the way others do. She shakes her head and she says, you're right. Rest is what's needed. I'll see you tomorrow, Korik. And she goes off into the woods. You can take 2 bond for that good roll. And some, private moment with Lucretia. Character progress. Tim, you're preparing for the adventure.
Oh, can I get an out of moment thing?
Oh yeah, please. Please.
Can everyone please just keep their own notes on stuff? I will not be keeping any notes on any bonds that anybody has or private moments they have with people. I am keeping notes for my character and then main overall plot points.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I had already put bonds and other crap on my character.
I'll say that most of these, while I'm talking to individuals, will be like for your team as a whole. So there won't be a lot of individual moments. This is a personal moment before we leave. Everything after this, while each of you will take an action, overall that action will mean something for the team as a whole and probably not for you as an individual.
Okay.
But it's still a good point. Okay, Tim, you are preparing magical stuff for the adventure at your home. Loop is preparing her medical kits, crates and crates of different medical supplies, poultice pouches and whatnot. We'll say there's syringes and like IV bags and shit she's preparing to, like all up and down to really be a full a full doctor here aboard the ship. Make sure everything is in order. How does this go for you? You're preparing. You're preparing for an adventure, and you're getting all your shit together. Hard to find a thread, not asking for more. I'm just like, I would say find the right word for it.
I would say I'm probably doing some kind of meditation. I'm going over narratively making sure I have the right spells I know ready if I need to use them in any way, shape, or form. I know narratively you said you won't have to worry about it.
No, that's the way that you're gonna defend your crew or be a proper diplomat in aggressive situations, is being able to cast whatever spell comes your way.
Right.
Yeah, you spend the night doing that. Why don't we roll mind to say how well you prepare yourself, right? Like, do you gather every single ingredient you need? Do you get, all the details in place, all the strings attached?
Uh, 11.
Okay. 11 is a total success. So what I will say, the two of you are preparing. Loop is packing and checking. She's not necessarily packing. She's just going over crates and crates of goods that have been delivered to your guys' home. And repairing what needs to be. And in the hubbub, I guess some things have gotten moved in and out of your storage space. Being a dwarf and a human, your storage space is probably the basement, not the attic, right? So you guys, some stuff has been moved around in an old crate. you have discovered in your like packing and getting things in order an old crate of like, we'll call them like books from your school years, the basic textbooks of how-to magics and the the more specifics of like Wilhelm's guide to casting the proper fireball and not blowing your apartment to shit. You find like all of the how-tos, the basics, and you spend some time just like rereading them, mostly out of, like looking back on the good old days as you do, but you remember like lots of little details from your time. And what I'm going to say is these books give you one asset.
Cool.
To use. You have your school books, which can be something else later on, of course, but that gives you like an actual object. Yeah, but I think it's a quiet night here at the at your household, preparing for this adventure. Yeah, you guys share an expensive old bottle of wine that Loop has been saving, and tie in early for copious amounts of sex, and then we can move on to Yi.
How does Angus feel about this?
Huh?
How does Angus feel about the copious amounts of sex that Loop is having?
It's his sister. It's not like they're talking about it.
That'd be really weird.
Angus is probably like weird when the conversations come up, and she probably makes fun of him and goes into detail, and then I don't know how Tim will react when I do that the first time, but we'll see.
Oh God, I'm just thinking of the parlor tricks when Tim finishes. Like, does it come out as confetti?
No.
He probably doesn't
No.
parlor trick,
Sorry.
but like while Luke is like telling the stories, Tim is behind her going like Yi, you go to what kind of establishment do you go to thieve this alcohol from?
He's going to try and see, like, he's going to try scope out a nice one, but like it doesn't have any guards that would recognize him from previous events that he's tried to get away with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think at that point we can say that there's like a nearby bar where like Davenport and Angus are going to tie one on that you can join. That's like a, it's bustling this evening because the people leaving are coming to party here.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a finer establishment. Sort of like leatherback booths that are old and sort of beaten but well maintained. There's lots of folks in and out. The servers are moving quick and serving pints. Nope, fuck that. Pitchers of ale to different tables. It's quite the event in here this evening. How is Yi enjoying himself?
I don't know why, and this is our character. I just imagine he got the name Shippy McShip from one of the drinks from this bar. He just stole it right off the menu. That's why he put it in there.
Sure. The menu has the Shippy McShip face on the menu. It's an old sailor's rum drink, I guess, and that's where you got the Boaty McBoat face name for the boat from. And now we have TCR, so
he's gonna look around and kind of see what the most expensive bottle like is around.
Oh sure, top shelf, easy peasy. There is like your crystalline bottles, like I don't know, Haymaker's Stew Scotch, and I don't know. My favorite RPG Scotch or like RPG alcohol is always like Dragon's Fire or whatever. Like there's a bottle of that up there, of course.
Does
and then there's a bottle of what's called Chromatose, which you've seen a bunch of ads about, but it's also top shelf, and it comes in a crystalline bottle with like a chromatic hue inside.
Where is the bartender at the moment?
Oh! At this moment, do you?
Yes.
you want the bartender away from you, I'm imagining, right? So the
Yeah, of
bartender is currently dealing with let's see. Heart, body, mind feels like the best way to do this. Like you're trying to scope out the best time, right?
Oh god, this is gonna probably.
His mind is like -1, isn't it?
It is. That's my. I switched around my mind and body because I was like.
I mean, unless you want to make it a charismatic thing, you can try to like talk some people up into a fight.
He's not a magician,
distracted.
No, but we only had 3 stats.
Yeah, you only have 3 stats. So if you have an
so.
argument to make it something else, if you want to try a different action besides just waiting for the bartender to
does anybody look like
out?
really face plastered?
Oh,
like
sure. Drunken Doug is in the corner of the bar, and he's already stumbling off his stool. He's doing the drunken stool stumble that Drunken Doug always does.
He's gonna go over to Drunken Doug and go, "Hey, I heard the bartender was talking shit about you, like how you can't even hold your liquor."
I hold more liquor than this whole bar can hold on a daily basis. But roll.
I don't know. He said he could finish a whole thing of Fireball before you could even down a thing of whiskey.
Fireball is roll plus heart. That's what you're trying to make this now a charismatic.
Yes.
You're trying to hype Drunken Doug up into a fervor.
That's a 17.
How? Couldn't possibly be. It's 2d6 plus
2d6.
Whatever your heart stat is.
2d6. That's what was throwing me off.
Scared me. I was like, plus 5.
Oh no, I did a +1, but I did a normal roll. That's what.
No, 2d6 for everything in this.
That is a 9.
A 9. Mixed success. Drunken Doug, here's what happened. Drunken Doug reacts way faster than you expect and immediately grabs his bottle and whips it through the bar at the bartender, and it hits the bartender, and all of a sudden the bar goes into an absolute fervor. There are bottles being thrown, there's punches and people being pushed over the bar. Davenport I want to keep it quick. I think with the mixed success, Davenport noticed you talking to him, but doesn't necessarily have, anything else to go on. Drunken Doug is a problem, no matter what. But the bartender is knocked out, and there is an absolute riot in here. Davenport is like, yee, let's go. Let's get out of here before the cops show up, I guess.
Before that happens, can I try to swipe that new drink, chromatic or whatever you called it? I can't remember exactly.
Chromatose. Yeah.
Chromatose, yeah.
You in the riot and in the fervor, you snag a bottle of chromatose from the shelf.
It's the Louis XIII of the D&D world.
And abscond with it, and you and Davenport and who'd I say, Angus, all run away from the bar as there's havoc behind you guys into the streets of the night. Do you guys go your separate ways, or do you guys do a little midnight city walk with a bottle of chromatose?
We'll probably do a city walk.
Are you saving the bottle of chromatose for the bottle or for the ship though?
Oh yeah, no. Yi was putting that in his bag as soon as he swiped it.
Okay, then what I'll give you is an asset. You can either have an asset for the bottle of chromatose, or you can have a bond for your time with these two guys.
Let's go with bond.
Okay. Then I'll say, yeah. You share some of the bottle of Chromatose then. That way it's like an open bottle of Chromatose. You have like 3/4 of a bottle of Chromatose. Whatever that means. You guys get a little tipsy off just that, like a few, a shot each or a drink each, and share a good time. And you develop a bond with the two of these guys in the streets. And
Angus and who was the other one you said?
Angus and Captain Davenport. Yes. You can, yes. Okay. Again, feel free to write them down. With who they are, again, it doesn't particularly matter in like their nature. It's just a score point for your action, basically, that will say something later, but is not going to be based on that specific situation.
Would that count as one bond or two? Because I did it with two people.
It's only going to count as one bond for the score, but like narratively, you're closer with both of these people.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure I put the right number in
for sure.
I was counting the bond. Cool.
Okay. So the three of you rest your different ways throughout the night. Ye, Davenport, and Angus, seemingly the least. But you still get enough rest and show up the next day back at the TCR. Yes. Next morning, you all present robed up or suited up in whatever manner that the IPRE has provided you with your outfits, your patch attached, and you prepare. This morning, as you depart your homes and your grottos, wherever you reside for the evening, the world around you is eerily quiet, but your minds are hard on the task at hand, preparing both your bodies, your minds, stretching as we need, preparing the right thoughts in your brain for the day, because you are about to partake in an adventure that none have partaken in before. As you do, as you prepare, you are in the research center. The sky above dark and motionless clouds. You fail to notice this on the way in, minds distracted. You fail to notice as you are loading the final crates up into the storage hatch of this giant pirate ship-like space vessel that even the colors around you in this facility seem to be dulling in color. And as you depart, this giant ring in the back of the pirate ship kicking in, beginning to spin and glow with the light of creation as its center, sending you out first into space, and then as it kicks on beyond, where you finally notice it. The hunger, although you don't call it that yet. You see a dark plane beginning to envelop the 12 beneath you, the material plane first where you came from with its long black tendrils. Davenport tries to warn the Institute through communications, but any attempt is unsuccessful. He decides instead to escape and hopefully return later to assess the damage, dodging in and out of the jagged tentacles as they jut in from seemingly space around you. During your escape, something seems odd. As you pass outside of the material plane for the first time, seeing the 12 planes beneath you, this inky blackness stretching over them, everything around you seems, I guess for lack of a better term, kind of like you're in a goo, like it's kind of jiggly, like the air seems thicker, time seems to slow, and then all of a sudden you move through whatever jiggly threshold you seemed to be passing through, and then time freezes, and you can't quite move your heads, but you scan your vision around the deck. Davenport in his seat, each of you in your chairs, maybe Loop standing up, a hand on Tim's shoulder, as thousands of forms of yourselves seem to stretch out in all different directions, almost like kaleidoscopically out from with you. Your vision blurs. All of your bodies seem to be torn in all of these different directions. And as the moment comes where you don't think you can quite withstand that anymore, there's a pop, and it all reels back into you in an instant, and you wake up, and the ship is floating sort of listlessly out here in the space between planes, and below you, you see the 12 planes, most particularly the prime material plane. And yeah, it doesn't take long from out here as everyone wakes up. Davenport immediately brings the vessel back down to assess the damages to your world. However, it is pretty instant upon coming back into the material plane that this is, in fact, not your world at all. The world beneath you, the world which you're sure you just left, is entirely different. You notice immediately on your descent, the continents are different shapes. The ocean is entirely different. The world far more verdant and overrun with nature than the one you just left. Thick forest pretty much everywhere, covering all land masses. Davenport flies the ship in low near the equator and surveys the land for what seems like a few days, because you guys don't have like any info on this place. And in those few days, you learn a few things about your world. And this is basically how these cycles are going to go. And what you guys are going to fly down into the new material plane. You're going to find out some info about your world, and then you will tell me how you want to go about spending your year here. You have 3 goals. Like, overall, I would say that you have 3 outside goals. Like, your characters haven't been given these goals, but you as players would technically, like, I want to give you these goals, right? Your goals are 1, to find the light of creation and stop the hunger from getting it. 2, find out about the hunger. 3, find a way to combat the hunger, or something else on that third kind of realm, right? Like, that's your big bad, and we're going to have to discover some things about it here. In a sort of roguelite scenario. In the first days, what you discover is your Passovers. 1, there's no humans in this world. It is entirely populated by animals. These animals are all herbivores in nature. They only eat plants. They exist co-naturally. They speak in a sort of, some sort of cohesive language that they all can speak. It might differ from animal to animal, but the grunts seem the same. The squeaks seem the same. They're all able to communicate in some form or fashion, like actual vocally. They don't eat or attack one another. They seem to be in a sort of like I said, cohesive unity style environment. They're not like in buildings. They're in dens. They're in nests, but they have built those dens and nests next to each other to develop communities. This is perfect. I'm glad the Taco's enjoying it.
I got a channel point redeem. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
And
is that part of Tim's 2-piece? He has a taco hat.
That's one of the pieces. What's the other one?
The other one just covers. Yeah.
His nipples. The animals, they even seem to sort of, they have some sort of like community in which they can trade like services for goods or herbs or help from beavers, like goods and services for goods and services kind of situation. After a few days, we'll say a week of surveying the land, you guys spot a bright light crashing down somewhere on the west of the continent, and immediately recognize this as the light of creation. So within a week of coming down into each world, the light of creation will follow you. After a few days of searching for the light of creation, you experience another event. The day turns to night for just a moment, and the night sky is filled with billions of white eyes looking down in on you for just a moment, and then they blink and the day returns to normal. An event which you guys have faced yourselves on the moon base. But now you're going to face it 100 times.
It's also
sounds
first
awful.
time facing it here, right?
Yeah, that would be your first time facing it here. So a week after you enter into this material plane, you learn all that info. The light of creation crashes into the west of this continent, somewhere you don't quite know where. And then a few days later, the eyes of the hunger, the scouts we'll call them, show up to spot what world it has landed on.
Yeah, I probably should have been writing all that down. So, yep. All right. I totally didn't.
Info. The important part is that info for this world. The light of creation is far to the west of you. You don't quite know where. There are no humans, all animals, all living in congregations and in union. Herbivores, no carnivores, and they communicate in somehow. That's all you're really able to discover in this week of flyovers. And the hunger is coming. You know that it takes about a year, though, from your experience.
Very much Rising of Shield Hero.
I was thinking more of the what is that PS5, the PS4, PS5 game?
Returnal?
Returnal. That's what I was thinking more of.
It's a little bit
No,
more
I meant the
balance
timing thing.
from Adventure Zone Balance Arc. Which is exactly what it is. Anyway. But yes, also I was thinking about, yes, roguelites. Yes, please. I wanted to get up and stretch my legs before we dive into world number 1. All of you consider what action you would like to take in your year here. Think of this action as a cohesive thing. If you want to train for the year, hell yeah, you can train and get stronger. If you want to learn about these animals for the year, you can do that, and we'll say what that happens narratively. You can do whatever you want, and we'll make a story around that, but that'll be how your character spends their year.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Other characters may come in and join you if you need a hand at some point, right? You're not going to... If you toughed out alone for the year, that doesn't mean you're not going to talk to another character for the whole year. It just means that that's pretty much your goal. Maybe we can narratively hold that off until someone else does their thing, so you have a little bit more info or action to be... You know what I mean? But, I'll gather all your ideas, and then we'll develop a year out of that and say what happens.
I shall be back.
We have a leaf energy, psychic memory, haunter, fighting memory, Dario, Jangmo O, Shelmet, a Salandit, Starly, another Jangmo O. And our rare is a Starmie.
Star you.
Jangmo-O.
Oh. What's wrong with Jangmo? I said it right, didn't
I believe you.
You need to have more oomph when describing the Pokemon characters, sir.
I don't know that that's how you pronounce it.
Yangmo-O?
You always make me second guess it when I say this out loud, so I need to look it up now, but I don't think it's Jangmo-O.
It's Euro or Gyro.
It's got a J in the front, so it's either Jangmo-O or Yangmo-O.
I'm more questioning the back end of the way you're saying it.
What if it's a Hispanic saying and it's an H?
Loyal Inventor, Reconstruct History, Adewale, Breaker of Chains, a Forest, Treasure Token, a Hemlock Vial.
You could have done this as Epic Voice Guy.
No, fucking Arno Dorian, and our rare is Rest in Peace.
I'm gonna give myself my points back.
I did an Epic Voice Guy for probably about a minute. There's too many things going on that require timers.
Don't believe
Okay, I'm rejecting it and getting my points back.
that would be how Siri has pronounced it.
Jangmo-O?
Yeah.
What is it? What card?
Aha! Toxic is right for once.
For one.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
How do you pronounce Jangmo-O and Decidueye? Very carefully.
Fuck.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a silent. Like, I didn't think it was like a long J, like Yangmo.
I have to run downstairs.
I actually did think it was Yangmo. Yeah, I actually thought it was Yang, like almost like Yang Mu.
Alexa, turn on light 2.
What was the card toxic? I want to see it just so I know what card.
I gotta change scene.
You have time. Buddha's doing something. Plus, you're a streamer. You're supposed to help your audience.
I am trying to help you. I just gotta change scenes again.
God, such a complaining streamer.
All right. I'm terrible.
Everyone says Jangmo-O, but because it's from Sun and
Jangmo?
Moon, I could see the pronunciation of Jangmu because it's from Sun and Moon. Specifically.
It's an O and then an O sound. Like I don't understand how it could be Jangmu. It's two O's next to each other and a hyphen in between.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Like grammatically, I don't understand how it could be Yangmu.
So Jangmo-O. That's how you're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, Jangmo-O.
But that's how I said it, Jangmo-O.
It is how you said it, and I just never have heard that said out loud.
Honestly,
before like
I
that,
just
and
go,
I didn't believe it.
"Hey, giant long neck dinosaur creature, you're in my party."
Potato, tomato, growlith.
You know, I want to know who sat there and watched paint dry for the saying of you. It's like watching paint dry to come like into fruition.
What, to pick the right Pokemon name?
No,
What are you talking about?
you know, like how we have like saying, yeah,
What
the
about
different
that
sayings
saying?
we have. Like you can't get blood from stone or stuff like that.
Okay. I don't get what you're
I just
saying
don't-
about sayings, though.
Yeah, I'm confused too.
I am way too sober for this. I need to have a lot of weed.
You're saying something about sayings as a whole, and now I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so like the saying, it's like watching paint dry.
Yes.
Who sat down and watched paint dry for that to become a saying?
I mean, I don't think
I'm
anyone
sure
has to sit down and like. I feel
Oh.
like I could make a reference like that when I know that it takes paint a long time to dry because you have to leave it for a long time for it to dry. If you touch it, it's still wet, and if you touch it a few hours later, it's still wet. And they say that maybe even that like I would make a reference based on a can being 24 hours, like saying wait 24 hours for it to dry. Be like, okay, well, it would be like sitting down and watching that happen for 24 straight hours. We know
I don't
it's going
want
to
to
happen.
know how paint dries.
We
I
know
wanna
how it
know how the
happens. We don't have to
saying
watch it. No, I know. I'm just saying that, like,
I think
No, I'm
saying
looking
it's like
Google.
watching paint dry is just nicer than saying it's really fucking slow.
Yeah. I don't
It's just
think
a polite way
anyone
to say it's
sat
really
and watched
slow.
paint dry and then figured out that it took a long time. I think that. Well, no, actually, no, I don't know. Man.
No,
I don't know
I
if
doubt
people are
it.
that dumb.
Maybe, I don't know, before TV or internet or whatever, people probably did some dumb shit to
What I'm
pass
saying
time.
is, yeah, I mean, but the first time someone maybe did have to check how long it took that paint to dry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah, I guess.
to a
I
T,
know,
they
that's
had
what
to
I
find
mean,
out.
like-
That's interesting. I've not thought about that.
And then they were probably at some point like,
With
well,
a
why don't we
fucking
just use this?
stopwatch, like,
Yeah.
Well, shit,
You
that's a
know?
long time. We should just use this to depict something that takes a really fucking long time.
And then there's
Yeah,
different
no.
grades of paint. Like this one is quick drying. This one's not as quick drying. Like you
someone
gotta
had
go
to
with
watch
all the
that
fucking
paint dry
ratios.
each time.
God, I'm
Yeah,
way
no,
too sober for this.
And that's what I mean. Like, somebody, before that saying actually came fruition, somebody had to probably try it.
All right,
Like-
moving on. Let's go.
Okay, so before we go in and land, you guys have what information you do have? Do you have any questions before we dive on in? Or do you have...
I would like to not
an
have the
adventure?
paint drying conversation again.
Yeah, that was a wild
That's
conversation. Having that
Don't worry, I have
conversation
tons
was
more.
like watching paint dry.
I see what you did there.
Don't worry, I have tons more questions.
I would like to, with Loop being our group medic, I would like to spend time with her, picking her brain about medicinal properties of certain herbs that I may not know about. That might have dual purposes that could help make potions, tinctures, and things, given the fact that she is the group medic. And I know a decent amount about stuff, but I would just like to, given like some of the things that I have, if she has any knowledge about different combinations or like other techniques that I could cross-utilize certain ingredients or items that I've had, or if she has any ideas that could help make things that I already use be more powerful or more helpful.
So you'd like to spend this year going over sort of like your shared medicinal inventory with Loop to
Yes.
get it, you know, all in line and making sure that we can really do this as we go.
Yeah, having a second healer in our party, in our group, like shared knowledge would be more useful.
Sick. Okay. Toxic, how would you like to spend your year? I just want to know how everyone spends their year before I like. That way, if I include anyone together, or
And this
go
is
in
a year in
specific
space,
order.
right? We're not like in the
No,
world.
no.
Right?
This is a year on the with the planet access. You guys have a forested, highly forested planet with animals that seem to have some form of community. The light of creation has crashed to the west. You guys have a year, or you don't. I'll say you don't know you have a year, but you do.
I would like to spend my time learning about what magic might be on this planet.
Okay.
What magical properties are there? Is there any innate magic? Is it like Verdansk where there's not a lot of magic prevalent? Like,
yeah,
just like arcana, general training and studying of the arcana of the planet.
Okay. Yours feels like mind. If you want to make a mind roll. Korik, yours also feels like mind, unless you want to make this about your relationship with Loop as you go, in which you can make it about charisma. Or
no, I want it to be more about my knowledge, not necessarily my bond.
How does using the asset work to add to a roll or re-roll, or
it will bump it up one like layer. So if you just failed, it will bump it up to a. Like if you rolled a 7 to 9. If you rolled a 7 to 9, it'll bump it up. 7.
Okay. So I would like to bump it to a regular.
Don't forget your +2 if you're using mind.
That was. Oh wait, so it's actually a 9.
A 7 to 9 is the moderate success. So it's you will succeed. They just may not be to the total effect that you want, or you can spend an asset to fully succeed. But we don't know what that is yet, so hold off. Let's just like hold that roll for now, because we're gonna say like when that moment comes up of you like getting a moderate success, you'll spin an asset to make that moment better. So we'll figure out what that is.
I'll decide whether or not I want to use it.
Yeah.
Or got a 9 as well.
Okay. So 2 9s, and then Yi, how would you like to spend your year on this planet, or with your team?
Will try and learn the language of the creatures here.
10 of 10. All right. You're going to... I mean, that's straightforward. You're going to spend some time with the animals and learn about their language and society.
Actually, mine was not a 9. Mine was a 7. Mine was a 3 + 2 + 2.
Oh, right. Yours was a 7, but that's okay. That 7 to 9, no matter what, in the same place. 2 moderate successes. I think, to me, yours seems like mind, Yi, but... I think we could also argue that it's heart, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's not body, But I think
No.
either way, it sounds like you're doing this in a more charismatic nature, which
Yeah.
that's
a 9.
That's a 9. Okay, I just question about Yi's approach to this here. His allies seemingly distracted. He's getting down into being like more social. What's that about? No, I'm not like saying it's wrong. I'm just curious about it.
So Yi here is trying to become more social because he thinks if for some reason because he knows eventually he'll have to leave this planet because they're not just going to stay here forever.
No.
They're going to out in space to explore. So he's thinking if he finds another planet with the same kind of language as this, he can eventually use it for his plans later on for something.
And Davenport is also pushing your team to continue moving and like move towards the light of creation. That's what the remainder of your team is doing. And he is pushing you to additionally like do this to use like the faster you can learn the language, the faster you can utilize the locals to help us find the light of creation. Because it's got to be doing something. If it was this important to our world, it's got to be doing something here. It's got to be helpful to them. Okay, here is how this will shake out. Oh, wait, Yi, did you roll? What's your roll?
Yeah, I got a 9, I said.
You got a 9 as well. Okay. A moderately successful year all around. Yi, it takes you a minute. It is different than even your bird language. Like, what you discover is that you are able to pick it up. You're able to pick it up in, like, 4 months. But you need to work with like the same group of animals. In fact, you need to find similar, we'll say like ravens, right? And where you guys landed first, there were no ravens. So you have to spend like a month hunting down ravens, which I guess are harder to find at some point, but you find them because I guess that's your bird, right? Crow?
Yes, he was a father. He had his mother's head was a raven. He has his father's body of a crow.
Okay, so either. We'll say, though, that the first you find is a raven, and that takes you about a month, and then it takes you a little bit of time, like, translating basically, like, the use of raven speech into an almost, like, world, like, universal animal language that really, like, blends a bunch of things. You have to, like, really practice and get your vocal cords to do different things, so it takes you some time. But in spending this time with this group of crows, it's funny.
It's a murder.
With this murder of crows, you learn a few things. One, that people like you guys have never really existed here. Like bipedals have never really existed here. Like they never evolved. They never needed to. This is always just kind of like historically, but as far as these, crows have talked about in their people's history, this is just like animals. They never needed more, so this is all they evolved into, and it worked for them. There is a high court here that sort of acts as like the voices for the different groups of animals here on this massive main continent. 3 massive animals. A big brown Kodiak bear that represents power, a giant white snow owl that represents wisdom, and a gray giant wolf. They're all giant. I don't need to say that word over and over again. That represents instinct. There's a high court. Yay. And their high court is located far to the west. Let's see. Okay. You learn that animal language, though, and in your time there, learn about the land and are able to direct your crew to various landmarks and around, and also we'll say like direct Korik and Loop to find local herbs for new uses and functions. We'll say with a 9, you get another bond, because this feels like a bond situation. Tim, what did you do again?
It was a 7, and I haven't decided if I want to use an asset to make it a complete success.
But what are you doing?
Oh, I was spending the year studying the magic on the planet. Is it innate? What kind of magic there is? Is it innate? Is it not innate? Is it like Verdansk? Okay. Is it not like Verdansk? I was essentially doing like the studying of Arcana of this planet.
Yeah, okay. What you discover is that there really isn't a ton here. It's so latent. It's so minor. And the grandiose spikes that occur naturally across any sort of place with magic come in the form of giant, like, alpha-like animals. Some of which you've seen roaming, and through talking to Yi, others of which you've seen are actually, like, has given them intelligence enough to, like, speak. We haven't met these animals, but Yi has told you about a high court, and in order to get a closer inspection on that, you bring the team there, which means that this has to take place in the 7-ish month mark, which is not a problem. Just to put things in a fun timer, we'll say in this time that. Yeah, I think Korik and Loop, you two have spent a lot of time together, and here on this ship particularly. Yi has led you on a few nearby expeditions in recent months, especially when you guys were, like, more parked in the Desert Cliffs region while he was spending time with those crows, in which you got some new desert herbs that you and Loop have learned the properties of and have, like, increased your stores. The two of you share enough, like, medical information. Like, you teach her a number of things, and she teaches you a few uses of things that you never thought of before. What is something that you teach Loop? Like, what is an ingredient interaction, or I feel like she comes from, like, a more scientific use of them, right? Whereas you come from a more natural use, so we can maybe, like, play in that space.
So and given my, like, cooking background, like, some of the herbs that she has particularly just used maybe in making into a paste for someone to eat or to put directly on a wound, maybe to help a minor poison effect, or, like, if somebody contracted something as simple as, like, a skin rash, like poison ivy, like something like that. But then I've shown her that how steeping, like, that herb and mixing it with maybe like a breed of mushroom or something like that can help make a delicious broth base that, is just kind of, like, revitalizing.
And that, that's a fantastic idea. I think how that develops over that year is that you two spend the time developing, like, oh, fuck. You two spend the first year developing the concept of Hero's Feast, right? Like, the idea of, like, I can spend, if I put in the right ingredients, treated in the very specifically right ways, ground just enough, boiled to just the right temperature, that not only do I fill my crew, but I like they are more energetic, more capable to do what they need to do.
I fucking love that.
That's really cool. That feels like an experience to me.
Yeah. So you gave me an extra bond to be with Loop, so I have 3 bond. And so I get 1 experience as well.
I think it's either bond or experience, because we rolled a 9, so we're in the middle here. Yeah. We're not going to get, like, a ton.
I'm going to take
you the option of either on that, though. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Loop, I think that, again, it's narratively, we can still be closer, right? Just score-wise, you got an experience. Like, you guys do spend a lot of time. Yeah, you spend a lot of time, but you're so stoked about the cooking things that even others notice, like Loop giving you eyes or like stirring with you on the pot at some point, but like
I'm just focused
you're just
strictly
so focused on this pot.
It's, you know, like I might notice that she's giving me like side eyes or something like that, but you know, my respect
You
for
stay away
Tim,
from my wife.
my respect for Tim
I set up an
and
open relationship because you're so flirty with other
Was-
people.
This is not okay.
yeah.
She can flirt with other people too.
Oh god, I could straight bang Tim's wife.
Flirty McFlirt face.
Okay, all right. For the record, if this was Yee's wife, she'd be bent over the damn tree bark right now.
Okay.
I figure.
Okay.
But because of my respect,
Yee's over there
for
with his
Tim.
crows.
my respect for Tim
I
as
don't
a
know
fellow
what.
friend and adventurer.
I guess Yee did make himself in this company as like a last minute input. Have the two of you done missions together, you and Tim, to already have a respect for him?
What?
Oh no, it was just based on like our initial interaction. Like it could have been like the head nod respect, like if you're a fellow Jeep owner or something like that. It was just like game respects game. And Yee was just like,
Yeah, it was like the Star Trek nod
Fellow
between
Jeep
William
owner
Shatner
vibes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
No.
my
the
interaction with
the Star Trek nod between Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner. The Star Trek meme. It's
Yeah.
just like where they both nodded each other. That's
and
what it was.
so like
We
and
have
then
an
my first
understanding.
interactions with Yee are just kind of like this fucking feathered freak. Like what the hell? Like I just don't have that same like level with him yet. And through the year that I have bonded with Loop, just hearing how highly she talks about Tim as well, I notice the love that she has for him.
Oh, that's
And
good. That's good.
Even
Yeah.
though, you know, she's also like, you know, I mean, you wanna, like shapeshift into a horse here, see what you got? I'm just like, whoa, let's.
I mean,
You
I'll
know,
say that, like,
yeah.
if you're spending a lot of time with Loop, like, Tim is, you know, doing his research in and out, that he's probably come to
Yeah.
and fro. He's tasted the soup. He's given some ideas here and there. You guys have
Yeah.
spent time in the same kitchen, no doubt, no doubt.
And I would almost say, like, if I took Bond, it would almost be like, instead of experience, it'd be like almost like a third Bond with Tim, 2/3 of Loop.
a throuple,
thing,
yeah.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. This is only year one, folks. We got a century ahead of us.
99 years.
Tim,
Take one down, pass it around. 98
with
years left.
with your research, you've guided Davenport through the past few months towards this royal court, because this is seemingly the largest show of magic in this world, the largest representation of it anyway. And as you guys approach, you notice a few things. The area around the High Court seems far more advanced than all the other settlements you've come across so far, all the other groupings of animals anyhow. The animals here are seen using tools. They are actually seen creating homes, and like some of them bipedal, moving around. Not all of them, but some of them. And as you approach this massive sort of, it is carved into beautiful ornate columns, but was once maybe like a big like mountainous clearing. They've carved down the side of the mountain and like steps in the paths leading up to this giant clearing, cathedral style seating around. But you can see as you land, like up here, where it has been noted to you and told you in stories enough, the royal court. The light, even in this night in which you land, is glowing very brightly from inside of that sort of royal court dome. And Tim leads the party in there, both in the chasing, I guess, of in the discovery of magic, and in, well, we also need the orb. It's been eight or so months now. We need the light of creation. That's the whole point. Maybe we can get home with the light of creation. Yes, and using Yi as a translator, your team makes your way into the High Court. Let's see. I guess I would like to question how you approach the High Court, liaison, diplomat, magic searcher.
I would probably say that I would approach it cautiously but confidently. So I don't know what to expect, right? But I also want to be confident that we're not there to hurt them or cause them any harm or whatever. But I'd still be cautious because this is new. I don't really know much about the planet. I did get a mixed result, so I would think that I would be confident in my ability that it's probably going to be fine, but I would also be a little bit like, well, maybe it might not be that okay, right? Like,
no, sure.
That would be kind of how I would approach it. Cautious, but confident that I could be a good diplomat.
As you guys have entered into this, I guess, court space, Yi is letting you know about the I don't know, we'll say like the tension in the air. The animals around you, while not speaking directly to you guys, have exchanged skitters and chitters of anxiety of these new creatures here. But as you have approached the High Court at their bench, sitting up there, massive animals, each of them a bear, an owl, and a wolf, all towering like at least we'll say like a 2-story high creature sitting on these benches looking down upon you. All they've done so far is sniff, and as you look over at Yi, he sort of shakes his head. They haven't said anything so far. They're just patiently sniffing the air as you have entered into this space. And the owl is the first one to speak. And it says, "Why have you come here?" And that shocks kind of all of you because it just does that in a common tongue. Yi goes to translate, but doesn't need to.
Well, it sure certainly throws Yi off for a loop.
I'm going to say that this is... anyone can kind of join in, but this is I think the culmination of everyone into Toxic's role, or you know what I mean? So yeah. I think you're kind of leading this diplomatic party to the
Yeah, and I guess if Yi can talk to animals or talk to I don't know who can talk to animals. Was Yi?
I mean, the owl just spoke to you in common.
No,
the owl just spoke to you.
Got it.
He just straight up speaks common to us.
Yeah, just talked to you in a way that you could understand.
So I would just kind of open normal diplomatic, being polite, explaining that kind of what we're here to do. We were from another world. We're here. We're trying to save this world, right? We're here doing research. We don't mean the planet or the forest any harm. We're just here trying to learn about how we can save this world, right? Because that's essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to stop the destruction of this world.
So you're just straight up open and honest about why you've come. Do you mention you mentioned you're here the light of creation, all of it? Your whole business? Not that you shouldn't. I just want to make sure before we dive in.
I would say probably a little bit about maybe not the light of creation part, but essentially that we're trying to stop this.
I mean, they have it, and they've been able to utilize it in some form or fashion to advance their technology here in the few months they've had it.
Oh, so then they would know. So then I just kind of explained that we're trying to save our people, and if you've advanced
the end of the world.
Right. We're trying to stop the end of our, and that's why we're here.
I think with a mixed success, they will give you the light of creation, but they require time to prove that you are not after nefarious means, because they've never met anyone like you. You seemingly have capabilities beyond their means, and they would like you to live amongst them, so they can prove you and like test your mettle, if you're worthy of their sort of prize that they have been able to claim.
We really need this.
Mm-hmm,
I'll just use my asset.
Well, see, they're offering it to you. They're just offering it to you after you prove yourselves.
What kind of
we'll
trials?
figure out what that means. It's more just like you tell me how you guys can prove yourselves, or like, and anyone can dive on in with this. This is open to the crew, or you can spend an asset to like upgrade that. Yeah. To getting the light of creation here at month 8 rather than in a few months. In a few months is ethereal though. That could mean anything, right? That could mean they're trying to give it to you in 6 months' time. That could mean they're trying to give it to you in 2. You know what I mean? That means that's ethereal. Yeah. So it's up to you to take how you want that. I guess that's your option at this moment. Is you can either spend an asset to upgrade to a total success for your magic search.
What does the rest of my group want to do? I don't want to just make all the decisions.
Well, this is based on your role, so it's just
it's not an asset to use. It's do you guys want to like show them in good faith and do it the diplomatic way, or do we want to maybe take a shortcut and
do we want to burn some fucking items right off the cuff? Let's go. I mean, this is not how I play games. I stock my stuff until I can't use them. It's too late.
Diplomatic.
I like fucking beat the game, and I'm like, oh shit, I have all these max revives.
Secretly pulling out a pitchfork, like, so are we writing or are we diplomatic? Holding a dictionary because he doesn't know what a law book is.
Pitchforks and dictionaries.
I would just, I guess, reply back to the guy, and I would say, "What do you require of us to prove that we're not nefarious?"
Oh, they just want you to spend time amongst their people and show them in what ways your people have used the light of creation to better their existence.
I don't know how we've used it. Have we used it?
Yeah, I know, but that's gonna be a player thing. That's what they're asking right now. That's gonna be you guys decide a way that you can teach them that you guys have utilized.
History check.
Again, that'll come down to a new check of some kind from someone, but we don't know what yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think
technically I spent like 4 months with their people.
With the crows?
I think those terms are agreeable.
Yeah, you learn their language and they're definitely open to it. They're, I think that's a good point. I think that's how you've been able to get here in the first place, though.
Okay.
Also, with not having humans on the planet, wouldn't Yi be the most welcoming figure looking like
the closest thing to an animal?
I am bipedal, but yeah.
They're interested. They're interested in Yi. He's the most advanced of the animal species they've seen thus far.
He's bipedal, but he looks like a bird.
I think that I think we'll say let's rock this path. In the coming months, they are fascinated with Yi, and he teaches them a bunch about the bipedal animal folk of where you guys are from. We'll say that like Korik does some fun showing off and how he can transfer from like animal to human, and they're like blown away that like you can be both things. You're two things, and you're like no, and you transfer in a different animal, and they're like you're three things, and you're like no, and you just like keep going down because they're like kind of simplistic.
And then I turn into a giant 15-foot bush.
Yeah, and then you turn into a bush, and they're like, now you're a plant, and they're fucking blown away with you. They're like, I think they're
Just-
really actually blown away with Korik. Now that I've said all those things out loud, I'm like, that's kind of like DDaD. Like, you're doing all these, and then you're just like, and now I'm
Shockingly-
this shape.
Shockingly, Korik just somehow becomes a Trask.
Yeah, right? Like, he's doing all these
And
things.
their new god. Bow before me.
How do you guys, yeah, I mean, they're in with you guys communally, right? I'd say that this,
I demand a sacrifice.
This is coming along. Goodness.
Calm down there, sir.
And then they lock it away and they say, "Never mind, you can leave now." No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
What do you guys show them with the Light of Creation? The Light of Creation is a amorphous thing. You guys, it advances societies. You can literally do almost anything. Like, it's a god
Can
tool,
ye
right?
use
It's god
it
mode
to create
on
a
Minecraft.
universal language between his and theirs, like to completely able for them to, like the animals under them, to speak common too?
That's honestly, that's an amazing use of the Light of Creation. Yes, absolutely. Following especially off what you've done is you utilize all of the things you've learned to create this like universal common language in which the animals in the Light of Creation's light are able to develop their vocal cords rather quickly into speaking a grungy common or a beaky common or whatever, but common nonetheless. Yeah, I love it.
Utilizing the Light of Creation, Loop and I have been working on Heroes Feast, and kind of like a quick acting version of that. We kind of use the Light of Creation to kind of fast track kind of like single-use potions of restoration. Not necessarily bringing back from the dead, but ones that would heal kind of mid-level, like poison, burn damage, frost damage, stuff like that.
Yeah, you teach that you utilize
more advanced healing.
Yeah, you help them develop out their like medicinal purposes, and they understand the idea. You basically are able to like implant in them and develop with them the ideas of like animals using plants as medicine, right? Like,
and
that's
like they
huge
knew that like, oh, if
developments.
we ate these red berries, we feel better. But using then also the generic or the more communal language that we have.
If we peel the red berries and then boil them, which now they can, utilize fire, like you help them utilize all these things.
Yeah, and it's more of an understanding of why rather than just because.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I just imagine Tim goes, and now I'll show you a trick. Pulls a rabbit out of his hat.
Yeah, I'm curious.
You're like, where the fuck did Tink go?
Tim, do you show them a use of the Light of Creation?
Yeah, but there's not going to be a parlor trick.
Yeah,
I
would hope not. That would be a wild follow-up to be like,
I
and
was
then
just
also
thinking-
scarves behind Korik while he's doing it.
Yeah, no. I think though, practically, considering I am like a sorcerer or whatever, I would kind of show them with magic, most of the magic coming from their area and not being at a planet where like, magic is innate. I would kind of show them the good things that even like spells that do damage can be used for, like protecting yourself, like, it could be used to fight if you're being attacked. It could be used to protect yourself. It could be like, it seems malicious, but if something is trying to kill you, right? Like you can use magic to whatever, right? Like there are uses for it that are defensive, not necessarily nefarious. It doesn't have to be.
Okay. I'm gonna call this across the board. It's gonna be like mega advantage because everyone's gonna get to roll, but I'm gonna take the highest roll of everyone's as our roll. But it seems like a heart across because we've all been talking and being charismatic and like showing off and teaching and learning. But heart from everyone, and I'll take the highest one for our groups.
Okay.
Come on, good roll.
All right, rolling.
Oh yeah, I'll take a 10. I'll take
Okay.
that all day.
Unless we get a 12 plus, a 10 will
Buddha-
get us.
Buddha's
through.
at
That is a
11.
9.
I got a 12. I got 11 plus 1.
And you got a 9. All right. Well, I think with that, you guys not only teach them those things, but you teach them those things. Like you're able to do this pretty quick. The crux of this puzzle was supposed to take you until the hunger got there, and it didn't, because you guys are quick. You guys are quick, and you were a part of using this thing, and you were on the forefront of it, and you're utilizing that capability. I think that for this, what I'm going to give you guys is an experience each. Yep. Fast and loose, experience each. That only takes you a few months. They after that few months, they basically like transfer custody, right, of the light of creation to you. But I imagine that for the next month or so, before things kick off, that you guys stay still here and utilizing it, helping advance their communities and their society as a whole. Let's see. But at the year's end, after, like literally to the day, a year after the Hunger Scouts arrived, the sky begins to darken, and you guys know the telltale signs of what this means. You guys are currently, I would say, like out and in the city, and the sky starts to darken, and you guys hear, I don't know, we'll say you have a little radios, because why wouldn't you? Davenport say, guys, we have to get back to the ship now. And you guys all start, I imagine, running back to the ship as the sky begins to darken and tar over. Though instead of saying that you do you? What do? You run to the ship?
Yes.
Can ye bring somebody on the ship that was like that taught him how to like speak their language?
Oh, like one of the crows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely. Yeah, I think after this year, one of the younger crows is like trying to adventure with you. Has been talking about that back and forth, right? And now that it's time, the crow comes to you and it's like, is it time? Can we? Is it? It looks like the sky's darkening, like you said it would.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
I wild shaped into a crow, and it's actually me.
You should get a crow.
Kidding. I'm already running.
Yeah.
Ye is definitely going to say yep and grab the crow's wing/claw, and we are going to run for it.
Frolic.
The crew makes it back to the ship as the pillars of tar-like substance begin crashing in from the very space around and into the planet, toppling buildings and structures that the animals have worked so hard on in the past few months. But you have the light of creation, and using Davenport's just deft flying ability, you fly up, dodging in and out of the crashing tendrils of hunger, and up into space and out into the material plane. The hunger's assault on this version, I guess, of the material plane down below is aggressive. It is furious and seemingly unrelenting. However, it does relent. At some point, it just sort of begins to fizzle away, and then all of a sudden fades and shifts back into this sort of kaleidoscopic space that your ship enters into, the jiggly space, we can call it, in between material planes. And as it does, it fades away, and you see the remnants of the planet remaining below, still seemingly alive. Time freezes. And things begin to shift around in the hub of this ship. Davenport shuffles lightly to the side and spins around in his chair. His coat reshuffles around on him. Yi, most specifically to describe it, I guess, on his shoulder, a bird phases out of existence, and in his hand, a bottle of alcohol called... I don't remember what I called it anymore. Cosmatos or whatever.
Cosmatos, yeah.
Appears in his hand, and you guys, Davenport, I guess, floats down, and the material plane comes to a rest, and you find yourself in yet another one. Reset back to where you entered in the first time. Yi, your bottle is full, but unfortunately, the crow not with you. Damn. Let's see.
Are we at the same planet we were before? So is it like Groundhog's Day, or is it a new planet?
In front of you is a new place. I'm gonna informational, like, give some information and advance time just a little bit.
Okay.
This has happened to you guys a few times at this point, right? Oh.
Uh-oh.
Did I did that. Can you still hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Give me 1 second. Let me get some water too. Clear my throat a lot.
Whee!
Empty.
I need a barmaid to refill my water for me. Hi chat, how's it going? Are we having fun? Are we asleep yet?
Getting tired.
I said I needed a barmaid to refill my water, and B says, I'm on my way.
Okay.
I'm not asleep yet, but I am getting tired.
I'm quite freaking exhausted, so yeah.
That's okay. I am not gonna rush us through
Yeah.
a massively long one, or even like tack on spooky stuff this time, just because it doesn't work out, and I prefer to stay
That's
in our
fair.
story. And that's okay. That's how it happens.
As someone that also loves Christmas, I would love a Christmas one-off.
We can figure out a Christmas one off.
Yes.
We have some in podcast Christmas lore that is the fucking goofiest, and I really want to like utilize it elsewhere, but I have to figure it out.
If we could fight Krampus, that'd be badass. If I could shove a reindeer antler into Yee's throat, that would be even better.
From the deleted, so from our very first season, we did a Halloween episode and a Christmas episode in the same year, and they were some of the best shit ever. But in Christmas episode 1, we've done 2 versions of it. Christmas episode 1, the team, I had to do so much research on what is called candle nights, because we were like tying into a specific podcast's non-denominational Christmas holiday, and they have a lot of like stupid kitschy lore. Basically, the team got hired by Santa Claus to fight, I don't know, anti-Santa or whatever. I don't remember. The Star-Lord, that's his name. The Star-Lord. Santa and the Star-Lord fight every Christmas. Santa always wins, but this year the Star-Lord was doing something different, and Santa lost, and the Star-Lord trapped Santa or whatever. I don't remember the story. It's a long time ago. I have it recorded. They beat Santa, and in my brain I had like hidden lore, right? Whoever kills Santa Claus, a la Tim Allen, becomes Santa Claus.
I figured that's what you were about to say.
Yeah, of course. So one of them killed Santa Claus, and I was just over the fucking moon. I could not believe it. And so I got to wrap episode 1 by being like, and then Cookie wakes up with a fucking Santa hat on her head. And it was like, so everyone was like dumb but blown away. And then we did number 2, or we want to do number 2, where like Cookie comes back as Santa Claus, and someone else needs her help. But that's from a bunch of deleted episodes, so it's like not even like lore for other people to be like, oh shit, it's just lore for us to talk about. Okay. Okay, we can either leave it there, because I did get here like super late, or we can go through another cycle.
I'd be down for one more cycle.
Toxic, how you feeling?
That's up to you guys. It just feels
It's
like
like what-
narratively the best to finish a cycle rather
It's
than
like one more
stop.
cycle, like 30 minutes. I got like 30 minutes
Nope.
left, and
I mean, we're gonna
It'll
chat about
probably
the
be
world
as
and
quick
then
as this.
dive in. Yeah, it's going to be about as quick as this cycle in which I'm going to set up the world. You guys tell me an event and we'll go through it.
I'm done for one more. I don't have to work tomorrow though, so I have no alarm. So that's why I was deferring to.
Yes.
yeah, I
The
could
one that
probably
has
do.
one.
I could probably do one more.
Okay.
Okay. So, you guys
Question:
have gone. Yep.
Do we still have the knowledge from the previous cycle,
Yes.
or did it like Groundhog Day reset?
No. You know everything from the previous cycle, and at this point, from the previous few cycles. Because at this point, it's
Okay.
cycle 8. We're gonna fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
At this
Awesome.
point, you guys have gone through a few cycles, and you figured out a little bit about them. Loop and Angus are able to figure out that, like, through the light of creation, you guys have stitched yourselves sort of across the fabric. Like every time you exit that material jiggly plane, that is, I don't know, just sort of like an outside stitching of the planes together, and by somehow the light of creation has like save stated you into that, like a recorded state, in which why you're always brought back. We're even going to say that like Yi from his like big bar fight has like a little bit of like a bruise on his, say he got like a black eye or something. So every time he comes back at the start of a year, he still has that black eye, he still has that bottle of alcohol, but he, that's it. Like if you, I mean, nothing else. You came back to that recorded state. It doesn't seem like living things can come back with you. You learn that every time you're entering into like basically a new reality, there's new rules for how things work and how things go in each of these places. A few days after you enter, usually about a week, the light of creation follows. And then a few days after that, Lucretia dubs it the hunger shows up, and the eyes can be seen. And then a year-ish later, the hunger arrives. Yep.
I was just gonna say, so we have the light of creation, or in each time when we enter an instance, we have to acquire the light of creation.
Each time you enter an instance, the light of creation is no longer like in your cyclical engine. You're still able to fly through space and the material plane, but you can't like exit. And it seems like the light of creation then falls into this material plane from somewhere.
Okay.
And we're discovering how to pick it up, and it does so within a few days. Yes.
Okay.
Two things happen when the hunger shows up. Either you have the light of creation like you did the first time, and you're able to escape, and the hunger doesn't destroy the plane, and you escape. Or like maybe a few of the times at this point you're unable to get it. Maybe it falls on the other side of the planet, or it's in hostile territory, we'll say, at some point, and you're just there was like actual war zone and you were unable to enter into it and get the light of creation in that year. And when that occurs, the hunger, as you leave, you're able to escape. The hunger, though, consumes this material plane entirely, adding it to its sort of masses, and expands in a little bit of size before just fading away as you pop into yet another reality.
Question.
Yes.
All right, so Yi survived this first one. How many of the next 7 has he died or lived in?
Yi, you tell me.
No,
Have you-
Yee's stupidity, it probably wouldn't be many.
Wouldn't be many?
So it sounds like at least one more survive.
Yeah, probably.
Because you only survived, like, what, 8 of these things, right?
I have 93 deaths.
Yeah,
so
he
I
only
don't
survived
have many.
7 in total.
7.
Yeah, we'll say that in the second one, Yi dies. We'll say it's that big Warzone one. Yi dies attempting to recover it, and in sorrow and whatever, as the hunger destroys this plane, you guys exit not knowing what's going to happen, and Yi stitches back together on the deck next to you guys, and that happens Probably, we'll say, honestly, every time.
We end up
Just
getting used to the fact that Yi's dying and he's just coming back. It's like
to other bad luck.
Yeah.
Like, Yi has them written down. He can tell us how he's died each time, but
yeah. Oh, I think he shared it with me too. Yeah.
I shared it with people.
The first
we've
one
just
is the
started
only
to come to
one
realize that
survived.
if we're going to send somebody into a battleground to test something out, it's Yi. Like, oh man, there might be a trapdoor down there. Yi, let's go.
Davenport does make one claim though, and it's not one that you guys want to even test, and it is that it's seemingly life or death important that at least one person survives to be able to fly the ship away. It has not always been Davenport, but someone has to be able to bring the ship away, and you guys don't want to test that. At least Davenport doesn't want to test, like, not escaping.
All of us dying.
Yeah, right. What does that mean? No one knows what that
So,
means, and that's a scary test.
I would like to say that we have like a designated anchor being to steal from Marvel or whatever for every mission. Like, we have one person who's going to play it safe, whether they stay near the ship or
like ship babysitter.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, it's my turn. I'm going to just stay on the ship and meditate for this year or something, or, not try to get too crazy if you guys are okay with that theory.
Yeah,
that feels good. That feels good. That feels safe. I think that a lot of
maybe Tim and Luke just want a year of sex, so they stay on the ship together one time.
Dude, we can pick up a person like native to the planet. We'll bring him onto the ship.
Do you want to know what? Maybe I spend a year learning how to make scones on the ship.
Scones, hero scones.
Scone RP coming back.
RP, 2 Scone RP episodes.
Actually, hold on. Can we go back 2 hours? Instead of learning how to do that, I want to learn how to make scones.
But Hero's Feast is also tied in. I know.
My Hero's Feast just takes the shape of everything flavored scones. It's like an everything gobstopper.
I love it.
It's an everything gobstone scone.
So this 8th cycle, that's your sort of raw informational knowledge. But this 8th cycle, you pass down. This world is made up of, it looks like about 80% of the planet is landmass. And that 80% seems to be covered by these massive bioluminescent mushrooms that glow in all sorts of bright neon hues. It's sort of a blinding, like, culmination, misty and hazy around them. They emit thick spores, which, as you pass by, you can see in this week, you gather that they can be extremely fatal. They sort of like grow up over people and mushroom-atize them or whatever. There are folks that exist on this world, halflings, dwarves, gnomes. They live in smaller settlements amongst the mushrooms with like hand-built masks, and they go out at night with bigger fire teams trying to burn back the mushrooms, but the mushrooms grow back in droves within a 24-hour period. They grow incredibly quickly. And during your Passovers, you can see from a different angle that this is because from the other end, like, rather than a burn team, they're like grow teams of like mushroomized folk that wander through the mushroom woods and like spread spores and shit. So there's this constant like force, but mostly the mushrooms take over the planet, and it's kind of deadly down here. The light of creation, about a week later, falls very, very far to the north. Very far. It streaks down in the night sky and falls over the horizon. You know it's pretty far up there. But it's, it's far. It's far. In some of the cycles where it's fallen this far, it has like been a toss-up. You guys haven't even found it sometimes. Like, if it's unutilized, it's unutilized. How do you guys want to spend your year?
This is going to come as no surprise to you, but I would like to study the magic on this planet. Again.
Okay. All right. Okay. In the
He
same
will look
way, do you
around.
do that every cycle? Is this what you do every
This
cycle?
is probably going to be what I'm going to do for most cycles. I would be shocked if I do much different.
Why? I mean, make it, but to make it to where I don't have to come up with something different every time, because that's gonna be kind of like the same situation every time.
Yeah.
I can hold on to it, and I will ask you extra questions. I don't mind studying the magic every time, but come up with like I think I'm going to challenge you to come up with in what way you're Tim doesn't seem like the character in the arc we have played to have a mass culmination of 100 societies worth of magical knowledge. You know what I mean? It's not that you don't have a connection to all those places, but like that's a lot of knowledge to have obtained, and then to like be a fucking, I don't know.
So
I feel
Tim
like
is the expert on the purple worms.
It's
Are there
not
any
that you
purple
know-
worms on the planet?
oh my god, you are the expert on purple worms. I will hold on to that. I love that. I will hold on to that.
Purple worm book.
This
Yeah,
is
I
much
mean, like,
world, but I do love that. I'm gonna hold on to that.
You could be hunting
What?
for like purple worms.
I could probably spin this. So it's covered in these like bioluminescent mushrooms.
Mhm,
I'm gonna
mhm.
spend a year specifically studying the mushrooms and seeing if they are magic in any way, shape, or form, or how they get their whatever bioluminescence, or is there a way to harness that to be beneficial to us, or
Okay, yeah, you're
whatever.
studying more than the natural magics of the goings on. It feels like some of your journeys over these past few cycles with Korik has been rubbing off on you. You've been focused on the magics and like how it's ingrained, but now you begin to focus on like how that is affecting the nature around it, maybe to lead you to new conclusions we will find. Okay, that's how Tim is spending his year. How are the other two spending your years?
He's gonna start making his way to the creation.
Exploration for the light of creation. I love it. Okay, Korik. And that, of course, doesn't mean you have to just jet out alone. We have to ship it.
So I sent you a private DM on that as well.
I like looking on my phone. If I look on my screen, it shows up on the stream, and that's just like burning the note.
I'm glad you touched on how Tim, like I rubbed off a little bit on Tim, and so, given where my character has been in the future, I feel like this ties very well into things for my character development, especially on this planet.
Naturally, I can't believe I said that naturally. That's amazing.
Yes. So I want to spend as much time with the mushrooms. There's just something about the plant life and the flora of this planet that is drawn to me. And after spending so much time learning medicinal properties with plants, especially with healing and mainly geared towards poison, with Loop over the last few years and whatnot, I really want to gear towards learning about the mushrooms, harnessing their abilities, but also how can I utilize my druid abilities of, wild shape somehow with this? How can I utilize plant life into my everyday culture, living and breathing with these spores? I spend way too much time with them. With and without the the homemade respirators or whatever, with from the indigenous people, but utilizing the everything I've learned to to help me out and stuff, and just utilizing as much fey magic I have and my wood elf capabilities to help with that, and just to try to understand myself and how to grow with this.
I think the year starts off Yi pushing for the light of exploration, Davenport also pushing for that, or light of creation. That is Davenport's first and foremost mission upon any place, because that's the whole goal. We can do whatever we want, he thinks, if we find that the very first thing. So he's always focused heavily on that. And Yi as well. Oh wait, we need rolls. Let's do Yi. I think, man.
I feel like that'd be body, because it'd be a lot of work just to get. You'd have to like be able to dodge and be able hold the different environment and everything.
Okay, yeah. You're gonna be, yeah. We can utilize this as like when we get closer, you're gonna have to hike out eventually, right? If it's fallen into this mushroom forest, we can't just fly down and grab it. Love it. Okay. So roll body for Yi. I think for Tim and Korik, it feels like mind.
Oh, I didn't roll 2. Fun.
Yi got a 10. I am
10?
happy.
Amazing.
I'm happy with an 11.
Korik got an 11 as well.
Okay, wow. Okay, an extremely successful year. Here's how I think this is rocking. There's a lot of ties together, and they all don't need to be incredibly long, so it's okay if one is if they're quick. And I think this one is seemingly kind of straightforward, especially with that speed. It is not long. You guys fly up in the ship. You go out, you use your homemade respirators off the bat, you take in some samples, and you do some studying for a few months while Yi and Davenport triangulate and land, and do some studying and triangulate and land. And what you guys learn is, as you guys are approaching the readings you're following are that every time you land and retriangulate, the mushrooms are more powerfully producing spores, and that is kind of this path that you guys are following until you reach a point in which the mushrooms are seemingly like growing into like a like a New York compressed style. Like, it's just so thick, it's so heavy with mushroom activity that you guys are definitely going to have to trek out into it. This journey into it is long and arduous, but with Yi leading the journey, Korik on the team to like help guide, this is relatively straightforward. You guys are given quite a lot of time along the way to really ingrain yourselves in these natural magics. I think that through the studies, this feels like a very Korik and Tim cooperative year. I think that like Tim, the like use together, you guys are really able to break down that this is like, it is the natural occurrence of these things, but the sporing is almost a natural magics of it like producing its effect. These spores are not always like reproduction spores like mushrooms we know are. They are effect spores in which they can cause any number of effects, but in the massive like cloudy fog that covers this planet, it's like a soup, right? It's a soup of like the 100 of effects that are going to fuck you up to 10. Maybe 10 of these effects will kill you. The other 90 may just mess up your brain or your body or whatever, and most of which culminates in a death. But with your really high rolls, this is great. I think that you two are able, let's see. Korik, you guys recover the light of creation relatively quick. We'll say like 6 months. 6 months in, you're hacking your way into like a clearing, and you're recovering the light of creation. So most of the rest of this time is spent in like contemplation of the mushrooms and figuring out what we can do with them and studying the light of creation, etc. Korik, at some point, now that we have the light of creation, everything seems good. We know we have some months. You take the risk. For science, you and Tim like get a tent together. You get you discover that each of the neon hues of these mushrooms is a different effect. It's basically a neon white miasmatic mist that spreads out, but that's because it's so many colors. Each of the mushrooms, when you singular them into like a booth that you've set up, can create individual effects. And so you will say like, start to list out all these effects. You guys are getting a list together. But there's one that like, I guess in your tests, you get into the booth with it. You've been the like guinea pig for the ones that seem that they're not gonna kill. We'll say like passing by animals, right? Like you guys got to use test subjects. This whole planet's gonna die anyway. What are we talking about? So we use a few test subjects. We learn that okay, this one is not gonna kill. It just makes your eyes really wide. So now I'm gonna test it on myself. Then you test on yourself. It's weird. It over the course of the next few days, as you breathe in, it becomes heavier and harder. What you realize in this animal that survived is that it starts to like grow mushrooms out of its orifice. This seems to be like a heavy reproduction one. But something feels weird inside your body, and for the rest of these months you get very like ill. And it starts to overtake you. You are, for the final month, like bedridden. Your team is nervous if you're going to survive. They're aware that, of course, you will come back, right, when we pass this barrier. But they're nervous on if you're going to survive. And you're sick. For now, I have a way that this is going to culminate in a good thing for that story for you. But you're alive for now. I'm curious. I feel like this is going to take place in experience for you, though, because you're connecting with that like phase that we have set out in our story. Didn't really feel like bond or getting an object. Toxic. I'm going to go with, I think, you could either take a bond for your time with Korik, or we can go with asset. We can say, like, these different mushrooms, like you have different, the asset of having, a lab of different utilizable mushrooms could be an asset, or it could be a bond with Korik. I'm going to say, I don't know, like all of these things are usable.
Like some of like those death touch type thing, like a necrotic type of.
I don't know if I want to take the asset or if I want to take the bond. I have an asset banked already.
All of these things are usable in multiple ways near or at the end of this cycle. So
I mean, if you want to go towards the thruple, man, we could bond.
Mm-hmm. You know what I said? Don't write down why bonds are happening, but maybe we do. Maybe we just to see what happens.
I'll take a bond this time.
Hey, we're best friends, man. You got a bond.
The throuple.
The mushrooms are very tempting, though. I was close.
I mean, it's basically just an asset at that point, and you can utilize them in multiple ways. Rolls throughout. They are, I will say, all of them are utilizable at the end as well, including assets. So if you have multiple, it could be helpful, but also they're helpful throughout. So I'm not gonna.
So one of the ways I think about this is if he made a note about how he received this bond of spending time with me and stuff like that, and then he notices through the experiment of this one, and I don't know why the color red stood out to me. Sure. Of the mist of Crimson. The one. Maybe it's because we're all wearing a red, and that's the one that just stuck out the most.
Bright
neon. Is the one that made me sick, and from previous bonds and whatnot, like in Loop, I just feel is just beside herself because she couldn't make me better with any of her medicinal abilities, and Korik bonding me, or not Korik, Tim bonding with Korik throughout this time, and him, taking the bond ability, but through that. Is he also understands the same level of the mushroom quality that I have because we've shared knowledge throughout this. And so I almost feel like it should be more than just like a bond of friendship. It should be a bond almost of experience as well. And his understanding, maybe not to the same level and depth that I have, but to like
that's funny.
Knowing like you know what I'm saying? Like almost like he kind of knows, like, this is the one that fucked him up. Like, what the hell, and stuff. And, like, they're trying to get me better, and I'm just not getting better because of it.
Yeah.
In spite of everything they do.
Yeah, I mean, we can have. I think I think we can definitely have that realization. Definitely. I think bond is the reward because this whole thing is narratively impactful already. We're hitting all the good T's for this cycle. But yeah. That is important. I will give you some bonuses. I think about the Light of Creation because of all of our hella good rolls. In your finding of the Light of Creation, you find a lot of those like mushroom cultivating beings that are like go out at night to spread spores and extend the mushrooms' reach and whatnot. In this like clearing that you guys find the Light of Creation, they're all like circled around it, like dead and reaching towards it. But you take it and you deal with the Light of Creation as you always do. But what you discover, it's more of a feeling, I think, in this cycle is that the Light of Creation seems to like want to help. It wants to be used in good manners, like in beneficial, like creative. It wants to create. It wants to create everything that it can. And it just wants to be used. And, you know, you have 6 months to get to the bottom of it. No, like, morality behind it, right? Not in a good or a bad way, but it just wants to be used. And what you guys come to the conclusion of is, like, it's just a tool, right? Use it in a good way, it's a good tool. Use it in a bad way, it's a bad tool. And you can use it to the nth degree of both ways and cause all sorts of good or bad things. But at the end of this cycle, easily enough, yet again, you escape as the mushrooms are ravaged by flowing columns of hunger, but not destroyed. Korik, as you guys are going up, it is hitting you. You're coughing and you're unable to stop. You're coughing up bouts of blood. You cough up bouts of like this like black ichor mixed in. It's like kind of fuzzy. You know you're not long for this world, but that's okay because you're passing between the barriers. As you do, the telltale shattering happens where your being sort of extends out from you in all directions. Thousands of you. You swear, though, that one of those that extends from you is like black and pointy as it disappears off into the group, and then they all kind of slam back into you, and you are back in your place on the deck. Yet again, you cough a little bit, and just for like the fun of it, like a little mushroom comes out. And you toss that to the side and look around. But you are healthy. You're not unhealthy. It's not growing inside of you. It's the, it's in there. Something has to activate it, You feel something about you has changed, but you can't you try to activate any of your abilities and they activate normally. You try to, you test it, but it's all normal. It's all up to code.
Something just feels off. I just can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, a seed has been planted, but whatever is going to take that seed to grow hasn't happened yet.
Take hundreds of years.
It'll take over 100 years. Yeah. Cultivate it well because, it's like a mango tree. It takes 7 years to make a fruit. You know how hard it is to keep a tree alive for 7 years for one fucking fruit? And a baby fruit. Its first fruit is not going to be a great mango. Fuck. 7 years, 100 years, keep it alive. Don't kill it.
Are you talking out of experience or
Yes.
out of
Experience.
Damn.
Mangoes and avocados. I kept an avocado alive for 4 years.
Damn.
And then it died.
Yeah, at
7
least
years.
5 to 8 years for a mango. Avocado's a while. Pineapple is over 3.
5 to 8 mango. Okay, yeah. Avocado I heard was 7.
Yeah, it's a
Crazy.
But
anyway.
we could also go. It takes a lot to keep a human alive too. So,
and humans don't produce fruit.
that
Fruits of our labor.
Typical. So we've passed 8 cycles. I'm not going to progress us on to any more, but we're 8 cycles down. You've survived 2 of them. We're going to say so far, the 2 that we have narrated. And that, honestly, that might be best to save your surviving years for the ones we narrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I not get
Makes
anything from just
Oh, wait.
going for the.
No.
just
You.
kinda
You're right.
skipped
I did.
over.
I wanted to circle back to rewards. I gave them bonds. They both took bonds. Ugh.
No, I got
No,
experience.
you got
You got a
experience.
bond.
Ye.
I don't know. We missed the prime opportunity because number 1 on his death sheet was poisoned by a friend during the mushroom one. I could have been like, "Here, try this," and he died.
Damn, poisoned by a friend. Dang.
Yeah,
It's okay. Poisoned
Do
by
you
a
have
friend
my
in a
death
different
sheet
one.
actually up to?
I do have your death sheet up. I wanted to start crossing off ones that we came across.
Well, you
That's
can
funny.
mark off 7 of those.
Pick 7,
Oh.
but not poisoned by. Keep poisoned by a friend on there.
Yeah, that will happen to me later
Oh,
on.
100% tried to swim faster than a shark. You did that. You tried that one.
Oh, I guarantee I had.
Actually, well, you can get rid of that one as long as there has to leave one ocean adjacent one because we'll have an ocean episode that he can die in.
Tried swimming up a waterfall. Tried to walk on water but didn't know how to swim. My favorite though, did a dumb and was running with a dagger pointed towards them.
Yeah, and I took that from the Fairly Odd Parents with the
Yeah.
where Timmy Turner's father's running and says, "Don't worry, honey, I have the spear pointed towards me, so it can't hurt anyone." Instantly falls out of the tree and
Oh god, there's
himself
so
with
many about not being able to swim. Tried out for the Olympics, forgetting they couldn't swim.
Flash to the war zone where Yi is like running through the war zone, dagger pointed towards himself for some reason. Yeah.
fair, that would have been Buddha's character's idea, I feel like, and he just went along with it with like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 cycles down. Some will be more intense and like we'll talk a little bit more about what's happening. Some will be like a fucking hangout sesh, and some will be like we're gonna discover stuff. Remember though, the 3 main key points as we go through each of these cycles that your team has overall, and now that I think after 8 cycles would have discussed this, is that 1, we need to figure out the light of creation, like finding it.
Yep.
Yes, studying it, so important, and figuring out its connection with the hunger. How we can combat the hunger and any info we can get about that situation. Yeah.
Question. We never, because we went on my
Dang
tangent.
it, another
about my
tangent.
list.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
Sorry, my fault.
No, it's fine.
I think just to do it, experience. You crushed ass out there in the woods. You led the crew. Experience. Assets are harder to come by, I think, and not a bond moment because you just beat some ass out there. I guess I did mention that you spent some time triangulating with Davenport, so you could take a bond or an experience. Up to you.
I'm gonna do experience.
Hell yeah! All right, sweet. Okay.
I'm gonna keep updating that list as Yi dies through the normal campaign and not this flashback. So every list of Yi's deaths is going to eventually be on that list.
Oh, sure. Most of them happened in Refuge. I don't think you've died since Refuge.
The most recent is where he got kicked out of his body.
Okay, yeah. I guess Edward. Dang, you die a lot. Yeah, never mind. Okay.
One is an unknown death though. That's fun.
Well, I talked to M about that. That was more
Yes.
for him to decide how it happened. Kind of amnesia aspect of that one.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Maybe that one will be on screen.
Yeah. I love the one of
Are we doing post-mortem? Because if we are, I'm gonna end my.
Yeah, I think we are finished. We have 92 cycles to go. It's not gonna hit 92 cycles, but we'll cover the bases. And then as we bore of this, we will quicken out of it and head into our final boss fight.
Leo, I am going to end my stream.
Me too. But also I'm gonna get out of here. So you guys, well, no, we can postmortem. I'm gonna end this. Everybody, mute this. Don't mute that. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight.
All good.
Everybody mute. What?
Always thanks for joining us tonight.
I think he was just saying everybody mute, but then realized he can just
appreciate you
deafen
guys.
himself.
We're crushing ass out here,
So we
beating
didn't.
the hunger up, enjoying ourselves. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. The main podcast will be back on Tuesday, as is the usual. Not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. We just had a new episode of Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice come out, so go check that out. The story is getting pretty fucking awesome, really intense, and a really good time. So go check it out. Appreciate everyone for coming on in and joining, and we'll see you next time.
Is that a beat? Hello, Beely.